Now,
Awesome. All right, great. Thanks, Stefan and Mike, for putting this together. Thanks to the Ontario Fruit and Vegetable Growers Association for inviting me and allowing us to have this webinar. We loved the opportunity to talk about our programs and how much it can help farmers in Ontario, and we also offer programs in BC and Quebec, but obviously Ontario is our biggest market, and so love to get in front of fruit and vegetable growers. We will have a booth and a small sponsorship at the fruit and growers or the fruit and vegetable growers uh, trade show in a couple weeks time, I guess, in Niagara. So come visit us if you're there. But today I'm going to talk about the program, really with our main program, our flagship program that we offer. And we'll just go here. Can everyone see that? Yeah, okay. So today I'm going to talk a bit about who we are, Agricultural Credit Corporation. I'm going to spend some time on the advanced payments program to try and give everyone a really good understanding of how it works, what it is, and how to take advantage of it. And that includes, what insurance information, what insurance do you need, what savings can you expect, and a few details about how to apply. It's a fairly easy application process, but I'll walk you through it. Who we are? Well,
Scott,
Ag Credit Corp. Yeah,
Scott, would you be able to maximize the screen
yeah.
of,
Okay, yeah.
yeah,
Let me figure out how I do that. Is it on the taskbar? Do you know?
it's at the very bottom of the screen, I believe. You know how you've
Okay.
got the four like square shaped formations at the bottom of your screen at
Whoops,
the bottom
that's not
right?
what I want. Yeah,
And if
didn't
you
mean to
click
do
on the
that.
most right one, right next to the slide bar, that should make your screen big.
Okay. No, sorry, I haven't seen this for see all slides. Sorry, where did you? Can you repeat that, Stefan? Sorry, I'm having
Or
trouble
go
here.
on slideshow at the top of your toolbar. Click on
Yeah,
slideshow right next to animations.
I don't have that. Let me just
Oh,
look at my taskbar. No, that's not it. No. Yeah, I don't really have anything in the top bar there. Sorry. I like
interesting.
what are
Then
you seeing? Are you seeing the slide with the next slide, that kind of thing?
yeah, yeah. It looks,
Yeah.
but you know what? In the interest of time, I would say let's proceed.
All right, yeah, sorry.
And
I'm not sure.
do you want
I use Teams more often, so I'm not as familiar with Zoom. I apologize.
would you be comfortable with us circulating the copy of the deck
Yeah,
afterwards? Okay.
absolutely.
All
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
everyone. If you can't read a font, there will be a copy of the deck circulated through the same channels as the webinar info.
Okay. Okay, so who is ACC? So we have been around since 1992. Our organization was created by the grain farmers, the soy farmers, and the corn farmers, with the express purpose of delivering government funding programs, namely the Advanced Payments Program. Really, that's our main one right now. It's a federal program. We have a couple other provincial ones, but I think this one, the APP, is probably most germane to what, fruit and vegetable growers are going to tap into. So we were formed in 1992, and we've been around that long. We've been offering the program. For a long time, we kind of didn't, we were a very small organization. We are a nonprofit, so we're not a bank, and we're not a government agency per se, but we do deliver government programs. For a long time, we probably did about 1,000 to 1,500 loans a year, which isn't a lot considering the number of farmers in Ontario and the benefits of this program. We're now up to, getting up to like 36, 3,700 a year, and we're still trying to grow more and more. So a few years ago, we added a number of staff. Most of them are on the phones, and those are people that you can call, representatives that can help you do an application, and they're very much farmer focused to help farmers put in applications and make sure they can get this access to this working capital when they need it. Some of the people hired, myself included, a couple were hired as marketing people. And so that's why we are out and about at trade shows, producer meetings. We have an online presence now. Certainly, these webinars that we do with farm organizations and even banks to talk about our program is helping us grow the program as much as we can. Again, we're a not-for-profit, non-share equity corp, and basically we administer cash advance programs. And the advance payments program has two main elements to it that I'll talk about in a minute, and that's getting you an interest-free loan or certainly a very low interest rate loan and giving you a better timing in terms of when you borrow and when you have to pay back. It's advantageous, especially to farmers that are, fruit and vegetable farmers that may have, a traditional growing season. Today, we have a lot more than just three organizations as part of our membership. This isn't even all of them. We have a few new ones in British Columbia. Most of them are either national or Ontario focused, but again, we have a lot of member organizations, and we work with all these organizations to promote our program, and we can reciprocate with some of our activities in promoting some of their events and advocacy as well. So definitely, our programs are used by farmers across the spectrum from beef and other livestock right through to ginseng and corn and soy and fruit and vegetables as well. So we work with all types of farmers within Ontario. So let's talk about the Advanced Payments Program. This is a Government of Canada program, so it is overseen and really governed by Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada in Ottawa, so it's federal. Um, and it's administered by a number of different organizations throughout Canada. The largest administrator is the Canadian Canola Growers out of Winnipeg, but they only service the prairie provinces. The second largest in Canada is ACC, it's us. And we service Ontario, BC, certain commodities in Quebec. So certainly we are the first call if you want to have access to this program in Ontario. The way it works is it offers up to $1 million in as an operating loan, and that how much you qualify for really depends on the size of your operation. Do you have thousands of acres? Do you have only, a handful of acres? Do you have, if you're a cattle farmer, do you have, 100 head? Do you have more? Really, that how much you qualify for is based on the size of your operation, which makes sense. Right now, the first $100,000 of that is interest free. So if you borrow $100,000 from us, you pay no interest. There is an application fee of $1,000, but that's it. There's no other hidden fees, no other hidden cost. It's just $1,000 application fee, no matter how much you borrow, and that allows you to borrow up to $1 million for the year, depending again on what you qualify for. So the way it would work is, let's say you borrow that $100,000 interest free, we would pay it to you in April. That's based on the rules of the program from Ag Canada. So April 1st, let's say, or the first week of April, you get your $100,000. You can use that for all of your inputs, labor, fertilizer, seeds, and consultants, whatever it takes to get your crop in the ground. Then you can kind of forget about us until the fall, because once you get to the fall, you harvest, you sell your produce, and then you get paid. And it's not until 30 days after you get paid that you need to repay us. So this loan of $100,000 that you take out in April may only you may only need it until, let's say, December or November, depending on when you're paid for your product. But again, what it does is it gives you working cash that you don't have to go to a bank for, or you don't have to find within your organization. It gives you working capital that you can use when you need it and pay back when you have money. So the way it works is the advance rate is 50% of expected market value. And those market values are set by Ag Canada. So let's say, for example, just again, this is just a fictitious example. If corn was $4 a bushel, and you would get paid out at $2 a bushel times all of your acreage, and that would be what you qualify for. So again, it's not going to overextend you. It's not going to give you a loan that you can't afford. It's going to give you the right amount of financing with the right repayment terms at the end. If
Scott,
Yeah,
I must protest. We need
okay.
bushels of apples at minimum. I'm in the
Okay.
know. In
Okay.
this crowd, there might be one that maybe
Okay.
Mike is
Fair.
familiar with the bushel of corn.
Okay. Fair enough. So yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. So let's say, let me just
Yes,
look
Kelly.
at, that's okay. Let me just have a look here at what the prices are for that in Ontario, and I can tell you exactly. Fruit and vegetable. Okay. So let's say, so right now, let's say, ambrosia apples. Okay. Right now, you would get paid 16 cents per pound, basically. That would be the payout. And that theoretically should be half of what the market value is. Now, again, we know market values fluctuate, but these prices are set at the beginning of each production year by Ag Canada. So that is an example of what you would get for apples. Honey Crisp would be 33 cents a pound. And again, this is based on the fluctuations of the market. So you can kind of look at that and say, okay, well, how many pounds of apples am I producing? And you can kind of figure out your payout. When you call in, you would give these details to our reps, and they would be able to say, okay, great, based on this production size, this is what you qualify for. Now, one of the questions, there's a couple questions here that I get a lot. If you qualify for $400,000, do you have to take all $400,000? And the answer is no. You can take whatever you feel is right for your business. So for example, let's say the interest free is 100,000 and you want to borrow 200,000. Well, that first $100,000 is interest free. The second $100,000, your interest rate right now would be 4.45%. And again, that's probably for a lot of businesses is going to be lower than you're going or lower rate than you're going to get at your bank. Not for everyone, but for the vast majority. Now, and when you look at our average loan size, even when you look at across of all the commodities and species that we fund, our average loan size really does kind of follow that, what the interest free is of a given year. And again, that makes sense. You want to try and get as much money as cheaply as you can for your operation without overextending or, undercutting your own operation. So that's the way that works. Now, the second question is, what do we mean by does the interest free portion increase? So the legislation behind this program states that we have to offer $100,000 interest free. That is the minimum. In March of each year, certainly the last 5 years or so, the government, the ministry, this is at the pleasure of the Minister of Ag federally, will come out and say this year, because of market conditions or because of economics or because of what have you, we're going to increase our interest free to something higher than 100,000. The last 2 years, they put it to 250,000. In 2023, it was 350,000. So it is at the kind of it is at the decision. It is at the decision point of the ag ministry, but we do anticipate that this will happen again this year, but we can't be sure until it happens, and that usually takes place somewhere between mid to late March. I think right now with everything going on in the economy, it probably, last year it was mid-March. I'm thinking that that'll be the same this time. But again, I can't promise more than 100,000 interest free until the government announces it. So again, that's really, that's in the interest free amount. If you borrow more than that, the balance of that is at 4.45%. Now, one of the questions that Stefan raised when we were just getting ready for this webinar, and I think it's a good one, is what happens if I borrow $100,000 now, and then the interest free goes up in a month or two? Can I get more? And the question is yes. There is a little bit of paperwork to do to get the extra, but it's really not, it's not an onerous amount. Let's say you borrow 100,000 interest free today. A month and a half from now, the government says it's 250,000. What will happen is that will trigger an automatic email from us to you to say, okay, this has been announced. You can call us to get more, or via email, if you can provide a couple of pieces of documentation, we'll get it done for you. And when we will be able to get you from 100,000 to 250,000 interest free. So again, there is a little bit of work on your part, but it'll be initiated by our people. As soon as you've got an application in for that initial 100,000, we'll send you that notice to saying, hey guys, guess what? You have access to more. Would you like us to make this happen for you? You can decline it. You can call us to say yes. You can email us with a couple of documents. So unfortunately, we can't just make it happen without speaking to you. That's just not the way the program is set up by the government, but it is fairly painless. And again, a lot happens. That is part of our process planning every year, knowing that we're going to have early applicants that ask for the 100,000, and they're going to want more when that's announced 2 months later, a month later, what have you. So, there really isn't the risk of you missing out. Okay, there should be no FOMO because you'll have that opportunity to get the full interest-free amount should it go up. Um, I don't know. Is there anything, Stefan, off the top of your head that you want me to? I mean, I got more information on the program. Anything at this point you think I've missed?
I appreciate that you did that extra work, Scott. That was fantastic. Thank
No
you.
worries. No worries. No, that's great. I'll carry on now. And again, if when we're looking at how many products, there's over 4,000 products that we offer, and so basically, if you grow it in Ontario, we can fund it, with the exception of supply management. So we can't fund dairy cattle, and this program also can't fund anything poultry. Okay, but pretty much if you grow it, you can get a loan for it. So anything you would grow within this group, fruit and vegetable growers, is fair game on this federal government program. And again, I was at a horticultural show a couple days ago, and I was getting asked, are you sure you can fund pretty much anything that we would grow? And I showed them pages and pages of Latin names of different horticultural products that we cover. So yeah, any fruit and vegetables that you can grow, we can fund. If there is an obscure one that we don't have on here, call us, let us know, and we can try and get that approved by Ag Canada. But I think for the most part, anything that would be grown around this particular organization's constituency is covered in this program.
Scott, can you go
Yeah.
back? I just
Yep.
want to. Oh, my eyes are not working well.
Yeah, I'm
So
sorry. So no
I'm
cannabis.
looking for tree fruit.
Yeah,
And
yeah, basically, yeah, so, what do we have here? Yeah, we have,
so horticultural field crops
yeah,
for our context is obviously field veg,
yeah,
generally
so
speaking,
there
but it
should
would
be,
also be field berries and
yeah, I
field
should add
fruit.
tender fruit and that kind of thing. That's
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah, no,
Yeah.
we work with grape growers, apple growers, blueberries, you name it, we
Right.
fund it. Yeah,
So
anything like that.
I think it's very important, and this is something that I want to establish for the audience more than for you, is that we were talking about vineyards as well and orchards of tree
Yeah,
fruit. Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah, and we have,
unless you say no, then that's
no, it's,
established fact.
and you know what, like when I look at this, there's even different types of grapes depending on whether they're, the grapes that you would go to the grocery store, or grapes that would be used in wine. So no, we cover it all.
Good. Thank you,
Yeah.
Scott.
This is a distribution of our loans. You can see more than half is covered by corn, soy, and wheat. So while that makes sense in terms of the number of grains and oilseeds farmers that we have in the province, I know there's a lot of fruit and veg in this province. And so that's still a relatively small proportion of our loan account. So I know there's growth here for us and more opportunity to work with us for a lot of farmers in Ontario that farm fruit and vegetables and that kind of thing. So again, you can see that this illustrates a couple things. One, we can fund just about anything that grows in the ground, and two, we have a lot of growth and a lot of growth ambition that we want to try and capture within fruits, vegetables, and some of these smaller areas that we just haven't been able, for whatever reason, we haven't been able to, get to from a marketing standpoint and really penetrate to say, hey guys, this is a really cost-effective source of operating money of working capital. Give us a call. We can really save you some money. And so again, I just want to focus on, we'd love to grow some of those, those areas there, like vegetables, apples, grapes, other fruits. We work greenhouse as well, everything. And They're all parts of our growth strategy to make sure farmers know about this program, and if they want to, use it as a really useful tool. Insurance. Okay, so the one question we get a lot too is, well, what insurance do you need? And that's a good question. Basically, to participate in the advanced payments program in Ontario, you either need to have production insurance or agri-stability through Agricor. So really, that's really the long and the short of it. There are certain instances where inventory can be used as security. And again, I would defer to my representatives on the phone to delineate when that can happen and when it can't. But most farmers basically either already have or opt for agri-stability or PI simply because it's fairly easy to get through Agricor. If, for example, if there's are no existing liens from other lenders, ACC will take a security interest on the production under the program, and that's fairly simple. If there is a general security agreement registered by another lender, then we will request a priority agreement, and we will work with the bank to make sure that gets done. That's not paperwork that you as the farmer has to do. We will do that as part of the fee that we charge $1,000. So again, this is really a fairly straightforward process as well. It might take a little extra time, but it really isn't much of a bottleneck. We work with banks on this every day, and in fact, we get a lot of referrals from banks, from all the big banks, including FCC. So if you do need a priority agreement for your loan, that's not a big deal. We'll take care of it. Again, we've tried to make this as easy as we can for the farmer who needs the money to get money in their hand. Okay,
Scott,
this is
Scott, just real quick, to the table slide.
Which one? Sorry.
If you could go
Yep.
advance to the table slide, because I love that slide. It
Yeah.
pleases my eyes. So before
Okay.
we get to, I'm going to go on my impulse. I'm so excited that Jay Atkins has joined. It's pleases me to a great amount that Jay is able to join. Love seeing you. Love that you're part of this call. Jay runs ACC across the country, and he's been a huge advocate for our industry. He's a real ally. I really appreciate you, Jay. So
thank you. Well,
thanks for joining.
We appreciate all the stuff you're doing for us as well. So we do appreciate, and our customers. So it's a good program, and we've made it as simple as possible. So and it's a way to save money.
Yeah. Well said. Keep it short.
Yeah.
Welcome. Okay. Back to you, Scott.
Yeah, no worries. Jay's my boss. I wish he'd be short and sweet like that when he's reprimanding me. But anyways, this savings grid is fairly powerful. Now, this is an actual snapshot from the 2025 program. Later in the year, I ran the numbers. Okay, so this assumes a $250,000 interest free. Okay, with the remainder of the loan then it was 4.45 and it still is. So really what this shows you is, okay, if that middle column, let's say you have a bank rate of prime plus 1, okay, so you're at 5.45. If you borrow $100,000 from us for that production year, we're going to save you $54.50 minus the $1,000 fee, so we're still going to save you over $4,000. If you borrow the $250,000, and again, this is interest free, we're going to save you $13,625 minus $1,000. We're going to save you over $12,000 in that. Just everyone could mute their system, please.
I'm going to mute that person just real quick. Okay. Give me a sec. Please, everyone, mute yourselves in the future if I forget to, because I shouldn't have to. Sorry, Jay, I didn't mean to mute you. Everyone but Jay.
All right. Okay, so basically, if you're borrowing the $250,000, we're going to save you, when you factor in the $1,000 admin fee, we're going to save you over $12,000. And I mean, that's a savings that could be used elsewhere. And I know a lot of farmers, when I talk to them at trade shows, at producer meetings, on webinars like this, or what have you, if I'm doing an inspection, this is one of the few ways right now they can find to save money. They can't really cut corners on fertilizer and seeds and labor and all these things. they just, with the input prices being really high, this is one way they can save money. And so, again, we know that as farmers, you have a lot of other things to think about, a lot of other expenses, from capital assets that you have and that kind of thing. But this is one way accessing this type of operating cash should be easy, and it should be cost effective. And that's what this program does. It basically gives you a zero or close to zero aggregate interest rate, depending on how much you borrow. Again, prime plus two is not, 6.5% really isn't an unheard of interest rate. We hear that a lot. Again, $100,000, we're saving you over 5 grand. 250, we're saving you over $15,000 within that production period. So, again, the reason I like this slide is because I know when we're talking in business, especially in banking, business people like to think about, well, how many percentage points, how many basis points. This shows you cash. This is real money that is just, it's just barren, visceral. It's just, here's 10 grand for you to save. Boom. And it just want to make sure that, you know, our process of getting you applied and approved and getting you money is a lot easier than it used to be. It's actually very easy. It's worth that a little bit of effort because these are real savings. And I just want to, this is what I call my sticker shock slide because it really shows I'm not just trying to sell you, a loan with, half a percentage point shaved off. This is significant savings. On this, and it's good that we have Jay here because Jay really is the one that engineered this. Jay came on board, I think, in 2011 or 2012. And back then, we were a mess of paperwork. It's just we were a little late to the digital game, although, a lot of companies were, I think, 15 years ago, but we had a lot of different application forms for only two programs. We had the 50-page application form. A lot of things were done by mail. So if you sent in an application and it was incorrectly filled out, we'd have to write a note on it, mail it back. It was a nightmare. Took 2 months to get funding, and basically everything was done purely analog. What Jay and the team that he's put around him, certainly that predate my days, they've done a lot of work on this. One of the things they've done is they've made it so it's very easy to apply. 20 to 25 minutes for a new applicant on the phone, and your application is done. It's probably 10 or 15 if you're applying in a subsequent year when we already know a lot about you and your farm and your operation. We've also invested, that 5 million is probably low. We've also invested a lot of money into software that can make sure that we can take that application on the phone. We can give you online portal access to your account. We can do online statements, and we can send you money electronically through EFT. There's no mailing of checks, anything like that. Everything's done right to your bank account. It's like you're paying your cable bill or your gas bill online from your bank account. It's the same thing here. So dealing with us is very easy. I was at the Ontario Soil and Crop Improvement Show yesterday in Elora, Ontario, and I had three. It's not a big show. The trade show part of it was just kind of breaks, and I had 3 or 4 people come up and say, "Hey, I'm already a client, but you guys are great to work with. Your reps are really well trained, and thanks for making it easy." And so, as that really shows for someone to make the time to come and talk to us about that when they've got other things going on, that means I think we've done a good job. And so, when we're talking to Stefan and saying, okay, we're asking your organization, the Ontario Fruit and Vegetable Growers, to advocate for us, to your people, the people, your members. We want to make sure that we're going to provide that good customer experience, and that's what we've put a lot of effort and money into doing. So I think we do a good job of it, and we invite you to come and find out and let us know because we think you can all benefit from the program.
Yes, and I would invite Jay to speak to that since in some ways it's his baby. So
Yep.
Jay, do you want to go back to the previous slide and add anything else? Scott, could we go back to the previous slide?
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It always reminds me of, and we've probably all seen it over the last few years, as they talk about the Buick car, and the Buick it's not, and it always says it's not your dad's Buick, and this program, and to be very honest with you, when I came to the organization, I really wasn't sure why anybody was using the program because it was a typical government program. It had oodles and oodles and oodles of paper. As Scott mentioned, everything was done by mail and some by fax. Our average turnaround time on a loan back then was about 60 days. There were 54 different applications, so you had to pick the one you wanted and or thought fit your organization. The application was 52 pages long, and I'm not really sure why anybody used it. This is not the ACC program of your dad. This one is today, and I just yesterday received some numbers back from our lending division. Today we have two applications, one for the advanced payments program, one for the commodity loan program, which we offer. We have our turnaround time last year was 10.2 days. So just a little over a week from the time you sign the application to the time you got funds transferred to you. And again, as Scott mentioned, time on the phone, we're about 18 minutes to complete an application to a new customer. For a renewal, our average time on a renewal is about 8.5 minutes on the phone. So it's not like it's a big, heavy process. All producers have to fill out enough paperwork and enough everything else as they operate their farms and their ranches. And I've been in the business about 35 years, and I just got tired of everybody saying there's a lot of paperwork. So when I came to ACC, we said, well, let's get rid of the paperwork. And that's made us the envy of pretty much any financial institution, that we have the ability to do it online over the phone. If the producer still desires to fill out the application, we have one online for them. If they're an existing customer, we have a pre-populated one online for them each year that we send to them and say, if you want to fill it out, go to it. But if you've got a phone, just call us. It's just easier. And that's worked really well for us, in particularly around our turnaround times and our ability to get funds out quickly. We have two major program dates. One's in November start and one's in an April 1st start. This current year on April 1st, we plan on kicking out about $650 million that day. So right now we're doing a lot of applications. It's too cold to do anything else except plow or blow snow. And so we're getting a lot of producers right now who are contacting us and filling out their application now to get it done, so that when April rolls around, first day of April, they're ready to go. They've got money in their account and off they run. So because in April you've got a lot more things to focus on than today in January, February. So like I say, we've tried to make it as easy, and we continue to change things on it to try to make it easy. We continuously are in discussions with Ag Canada in order to simplify the program. Those conversations go on monthly, and we've got it to the point today where it is so easy. And as Scott said, if you want to pay us back, you call us. We'll take the payment out of your bank account. You can set us up as a payee on your smartphone and pay us no different than you pay Ontario Hydro, or you pay your Rogers bill or phone bill. So all the steps that we've taken are to try to make it as simple as possible, because the benefits are great. And everybody can use an extra 5,000, 10,000, 30,000 in reduction in their overall costs of operating the farm. And as producers, there's lots of different places to use that money that's a lot more productive than paying interest. So.
Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
I'm glad I went with my gut and prompted you, because it reminded me of the passion that you have for the program and doing right by growers, that it comes from the heart. And
It does, and we're a member organization, a member-driven organization, and the Ontario Fruit and Vegetable Growers, and
Yes.
we have 21 different member organizations which we talk with all the time and work with, and our focus, we're a not-for-profit company. We're not here to make money, and our goal is to make this program as easy as possible and as cheap as possible to the producer, and that's not an advertising slogan. That's truth. That's fact. And we see so many people that used our program 25 years ago and went, never do that again, that have come back now and went, oh my goodness, this is pretty slick. And that's what we want. We want it's the program's there for farmers to use, but we've got to make it easy enough for farmers to use it. So
And we want that too.
we work every day on that. So
Yes.
Yeah, and it's interesting
Thank
because
you.
to that point, Jay, is again, when I'm out and about talking to farmers, I meet older farmers who come and say, I used to use your program and I just stopped because it was just too painful, and now they've rejoined. When interest rates went up during COVID or after COVID, they said, okay, maybe it makes sense to do this again, and they're amazed at just how easy it is, and so again, I think to a large degree the work is we had to put the work in. It took time, but I think we've reached there where we can be pretty efficient that way. So, but we've definitely evolved. So if you did use us in the 15 plus years ago, it's not the same. It's a lot easier, and really is a good way to save money. Again, this is I'm kind of reiterating here. Application fee is $1,000, and again, that's whether you borrow 100 grand or a million. It's $1,000 for that program year. There's no other upfront or hidden costs. As a new applicant, there are a few things we need. We need your proof of citizenship. We may need some corporate documents for the elements of credit and that kind of thing. And you need to have PI or ag stability. But it's fairly, vis-a-vis maybe a bank um, experience, it's fairly simple. And one of the things is, even if you're unsure, call us because our reps can explain the program, how it applies to your particular operation based on what you're growing, and walk you through how it works very, very clearly. So it is worth, even if you just want to kick tires, it's worth it. I think you'll be happy you did. And it's again, we've like Jay said, we tried to make it as simple as we can. I've added this slide just this year because again, hearing the one thing I hear once in a while from farmers is, well, I don't want to upset my banker, so I don't know if I should borrow from ACC. So what we do is every new application we put on there, how would you hear about us? And we give them some visit our website, social media, trade show, advertisement, what have you. The number one way that people hear, despite the fact that I'm a marketing guy, and I guess I'm embarrassed to say this, that it isn't what I do, it's what you guys do. It's farmers talking to farmers. That is the number one referral source that we get. That's where people hear about us the most. Talking over the farm gate, saying, hey, if you're looking for operating money, maybe check out ACC. Number two is banks, from FCC to the credit unions to the big five banks. We work with all of them, and I do webinars similar to this with all of them during this season when they're talking to farmers about financing, because really what it comes down to is they know that this is a good program for their customers. So, for example, one ag associate at one of the big five banks said to me, "Look, I'm already working with the customer. I have their mortgage, and they have some tractor lease or something, and those are profitable for banks, but lines of credit not that profitable, and it's the same amount of paperwork. So it's really good for banks because one, they can say to their client, hey, I can get you a better rate. In fact, it's interest free if you're interested." And you know what? They don't have to do the paperwork themselves, and it benefits the farmer because you're going to get a much lower rate than you would probably on a line of credit for most people. And so banks do work with us. Again, I did a webinar with one of them last week. I've got another one next week. We did an in-person presentation in January with one. And I know I think Jay, you were out in BC and talked to a couple of ag focused branches.
Mm.
Again, it's because they use this as a tool to serve their clients because this is a better program in terms of the aggregate rate. In some cases it's zero. Some cases, if you do have interest bearing money, that first 100 to 250 is not interest bearing. And so again, it's really a good tool for banks. So again, if you're talking to your banker, don't be afraid to let them know, hey, I'm thinking of ACC or I'm working with ACC because they know us and they work with us. So I just wanted to make sure that's clear.
One of the things, if I can just add, Scott, we actually have one bank that each spring has a competition internally to see how many clients they can send us. And because for them, they'd much rather have their account managers working on a 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 or $15 million loan than they would a $150,000 line of credit. And again, as Scott mentioned, there's not a lot of money in lines of credit and operating loans for them. And so they're usually quite eager to hand that off. They don't really see us as competition because we don't get into the mortgage field and we're not into GICs and RSPs and investments and all the other stuff. So they don't see us as competition, but they just see us as kind of taking the work that they really don't want to do and don't want to have their account managers spending time on. And because for them, it's all about return on investment and return on human capital. And they'd much rather their folks working on mortgages and those types of things and investments than they would an operating loan. So for us, we work well with all the banks, about just over 2,000 branches in Canada. And we meet with all the banks regularly at their senior executive level. And they want to work closer together with us. And it's every one we go into. I'll meet with the CEOs of all the banks each year. And it's how can we work better together? And it's not, boy, you're taking business away from us or whatever. It's how can we make it easier for the producer and how can we make it better for them? So.
No, that's right. That's right. So one of the things that I know, Stefan, you wanted me to talk about, so I threw a slide in, was our contest. And this is the first year we've done this, and part of it is to motivate farmers to take advantage and to kind of as a thank you, but it's also process driven for us too, because we are seasonal, as you might expect, in terms of how we disperse money and process loans. So the earlier we can get loans in ahead of that April 1st kind of date that we're first able to send out money to borrowers, to farmers, we said, hey, listen, let's do a little contest. If you can get your completed application in before or by, I guess, what is it, February 28th, then you'll be entered to win a $4,000 mower. Now, again, if it's not a mower you need, we can look at another piece of equipment at that price point. But and you can get bonus entries by interacting with us on social media, like starting to follow us, liking and share posts, post a photo or story of your farm life, all that kind of stuff you see there. So again, we're ready to, we're already compiling that list of entrants. So and it's been pretty well received so far. So by all means, give us a call, get your application in, and you'll automatically be entered in this contest. And you'll see a lot of it on our social media platforms. Really, we post on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and X or Twitter. Those are the main ones you'll find us on, and we're active in all. We also we also get reposted and shared quite a bit with OFA. Some of you may notice that this year that in some of the packages you get from OFA is one of our little buck slips to talk a bit about our program as well. So you may see some of these images in other places like that.
Wait, why not OFMVGA? I guess you don't want to pick favorites between commodities.
Oh, we'll pick favorites.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fine. You can share and repost. Absolutely. It's just I know OFA do packages every year, so we got into that. So no, if you want to work with us on anything you guys are doing, we're open to it. Again, any channel we can use
Yes.
to get the word out. Yeah, that's why I'm here. That's why I have a marketing budget. That's why, that's why we're open for business. Absolutely. So,
Mike, am I out of line to say we'd like to work on every way to get the word out because we think it's the right thing to do for OpenVGA.
For sure. Yeah, the more, like I said earlier, the more participation, the better it is for the entire program and for our growers as well.
yeah, thanks to Mike for agreeing to be interviewed in the grower. I guess it was in December. I think there's a piece there that talks about our program and how he uses it. And so thank you again for doing that. It's one thing to have me come up here and talk about the program. It means a lot more, and there's a lot more credibility when a farmer says, "This is why it's good for me, and this is how it can help you." So by all means, give us a call. That 1-888 number is direct to a rep, and we don't have press one for this and press two for that. Worst case, you'll leave a voicemail. Usually, you'll get a rep, you'll get a human being when you call, or you can email us if you'd rather and say, "Hey, I'm interested," and then we'll arrange a time to call. Lots of information on our website. You can call me directly if you like, or what have you. You can email me. Again, take advantage of the program. This is meant to be for farmers. And again, like Jay said, we're a nonprofit, so we need to break even every year, and we need to do that while helping as the most farmers possible with these programs. That's why we exist. That's why we were created. I don't know, Jay, is there anything you'd like to add before
No,
we go to
I,
questions?
I too want to thank Mike for his work and certainly for the article, because it was, as Scott said, coming from a farmer to farmer is always better than coming from someplace else.
Yeah.
And so Mike, we do appreciate that. And Stefan, we appreciate you setting this up for us as well.
My
And
pleasure.
you know what?
If I may, I've got a question.
Sure.
Sure.
Hey,
Yeah.
Brian, how are you?
I'm good,
Brian,
thank you.
Brian, I just
I-
wanted to make sure that that you knew that there was no way in hell that I would not have your question raised. I did read it.
Okay,
I was
just
looking for the
read
right
it.
time.
you go ahead. Thanks. You go ahead and read the question, Stefan. You have it there? I sent it in the chat.
Yes, you did. You did. I did want to point out that also in the chat is a link to the article that both Jay and Scott referenced. So you get a 2-for-1 deal. If you check the chat right now, you see Brian's question and a link to that article. Brian's question, and thank you for that question, Brian, was payment from packers to apple growers mostly happen the year after harvest. Is repayment still 30 days? For some reason, there's a prompt if I want to comment or smile at that. I'm assuming it's 30 days after growers get paid.
Yeah, we used to do it that you had to pay us 30 days after it was shipped. And we've did a lot of discussions with Ag Canada, and it came out. So it's 30 days after the producer gets paid, or 18 months, whichever comes
Yeah.
first.
Good.
And
Yeah.
and again, the repayment rate and with any of the crops is you have to pay us back at the rate in which the loan was given. So we lend about 50% of the final value of the product. So as the producer gets paid, and if there's a number of payments, they only have to pay us back at the rate in which they were paid. So if it's 50 cents in the dollar, then that's how we have to be paid back. But it's 30 days after the grower gets paid. Because what we ran into, Brian, was a lot of people will ship into Zehrs, Canadian Tire, Walmart, Costco, and these types of organizations. And, they have 120 or 160-day receivable. And so we were making producers pay before they were even getting paid. So we actually went to Ag Canada and said, something's got to give here a little bit, because we're asking for money and the producer hasn't been paid yet. So they did change it to 30 days after the grower gets paid, or 18 months from the start of the program, whichever comes first.
Yeah, and I just showed this slide because basically it says terms and repayment up to 18 months. So basically, it's either like Jay said, 30 days after you're paid, or up to 18 months. And I guess, Jay, that's really a nod to if you wanted to store, if you had a storable, you
Yeah.
can store it a bit and try and time the market a little bit. Although that I know that's not always possible, but that's really where that
Well,
comes.
certainly things like apples can be stored in,
Yeah.
humidity controlled environment
Yeah.
and everything else. So apples can be stored a long time
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
We run into the same issues around cherries, blueberries, all of those types of products that that may be shipped but are not paid for. So
Thank you, Jay. And excellent question, Brian. And next time I'll try to. Yeah, I'm a little sad that you didn't think that I was going to get you, because I can't imagine a scenario where I would want to ignore a question of yours, because you did have your hand up as well.
I see Zach has a question here. Growers are usually paid over 5 or 6 payments, September to the following June or July. Again, as you get paid for your crop, we only have to be paid back as if you've shipped or they've paid you for 20% of the crop. Well, then we only get paid back on the 20%. So you keep about half the money and you send us about half the money. So.
Very good.
Excellent. If I could just make one final point, Stefan,
Please.
if that's okay.
Yes.
Again, I'm going to reiterate a little bit of things that I've said before, but I just genuinely believe that this is the most efficient and fair way to support farmers when it comes to a federal program. I see it at the ground level. It doesn't cause inflation and competition between farms like some industry specific programs might have, unintended consequences. We're also flying, a little bit under the radar. It doesn't raise the red flags as a trade irritant with the World Trade Organization and our international trading partners. And I think for me, it's the whole cash flow aspect that it's an upfront support. So again, it's a federally funded or supported program. But unlike risk management or agri-stability, which are all after the fact, this helps get much needed financing dollars in our pockets when we need them right up front to kick the season off. So throughout the season, cash flows go up and down. I think this is the best way to support margin. It's hard to calculate that true cost of that operating cost. We all know a lot of our input costs and we can count on that, but borrowing costs can fluctuate up and down due to cash flow and seasonal pricing. But this helps buffer that. And I think that, whether it's that $5,000 a year or up to $30,000, that it helps to support your operation. In a lot of cases, that's just, helping that always narrow margin that we all seem to be dealing with, especially in our sector. So, and final point though, it's just dealing with your team, just the most professional, knowledgeable staff I've ever dealt with. They understand agriculture. They make it so easy to update, to either start the loan or update the loan. And, not to bash the banks because we need them too, but I think a lot of us find, we end up having, no matter what your position is, you need to go hat in hand to the bank and, tie up land as collateral, jumping through hoops and paperwork at the bank level. And avoiding that with this program is just such a valuable component of it. So that we're grateful for it. We thank you for the work you're doing, and thank you for being advocates too, because I know that both of you, Jay and Scott, are advocating to help make this a permanently interest-free funded program at that $350,000 level, which would avoid the uncertainty and each year, and just make it something farmers can count on and rely on. And so we're advocating for that federally. Again, we're great partners, and we're going to we're going to keep with that message as long as we need to until we can firm this up. But
Yeah.
thank you again.
Well, one of the things under the legislation is that each year it goes back to $100,000, and then it's up to the minister to change it, which the Minister of Agriculture has changed it for the last 5 years. What this does, though, for everyone is it creates some sensitivity to that, well, is it 100,000? Is it 250? Is it 350? So we've got organizations like OFVGA, we've got CFA, we've got OFA, we've got probably 15 or 18 other farm organizations across Canada that have all written letters to the minister saying, put it at 350 and leave it alone and make it permanent. And so that's what we are really pushing for, is that 351. Now, for those who are applying right now, you're going to get told by our team members that, it's $100,000 interest free right now. And then people say, well, maybe I should wait and I should apply later or whatever. How we have it set up is if we set it up today as 100,000 interest free. If that changes and if the minister comes out and says it's 250 or 350 or whatever, you automatically get that. We go back and rewrite the loan so that whatever is interest free, whatever it's going to be set at, you will get the benefit of that no matter when you applied during the year. So so that's, and again, we're pushing hard again with your help, Mike, and your organization. We're pushing really hard to get that set in stone so that people can plan better and properly plan. And for the 40,000 farmers across Canada that use the program, they want some stability in that each year as well. So we're working on it.
Yes, you are. We've got a question from Navi, and then I did want to make a comment, Jay, that, as we were going through this presentation, I never realized that the quality of a presentation, I think, reflects the passion of those that are part of the organization, because you wouldn't make an excellent presentation unless you were passionate about it. And I know we worked with you to improve the presentation, which reflects OpenVGA's passion for it. Yep. And that's a really cool connection to make. It's sort of that intuition reflected in what my eyes are showing us. So that's cool.
We're all about producers, and I'm from a family farm. And, whatever we can do to make it easy for producers, that's what we want to do. And like I say, 40,000 farmers across Canada use this program and have the government pay their interest for them. And my comment is to every producer, why don't you? The program's there. It's as Mike mentioned, when you get to some of the other programs, they aren't set up as easily. They are to access. There's some friction between organizations on some of that stuff. This one, we're across the board. You basically grow it. We cover 4,000 products. You grow it, we can probably finance it. So, but we just keep continuously trying to make it better.
Thank you, Jay. We do have a couple more questions, and people wouldn't stay on if they weren't interested, so I'm not going to cut it off. Scott and Jay, can you accommodate a couple more minutes?
Sure. Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay, good. The first question is ACC or FCC for operational costs?
The one thing that we have found historically, and back in another lifetime, I worked for Farm Credit Canada for about 15 years, a vice president for them. One of the things we have found recently is we've had a number of people that have come to us from FCC that were with FCC and we're paying extremely high rates. And when I say extremely high rates, it's prime +4 to prime +6 on an operating line. And Scott was with me when we had a couple families approach us on this. Yep. And like I say, Farm Credit's there for a lot of reasons, and the large ag lender and all the other stuff. But prime +4, prime +6 is not a favor to anybody.
He was talking to the ACC program.
If you're on a call, I can wait outside.
No, they're just asking a few last.
Okay.
Yes. Carry
So,
on.
so like I say, I know we are a lower rate because there is nobody out there that has an interest-free program. So, and the other thing is, if you want to just borrow interest-free money, just take the interest-free money portion.
Yeah.
I always tell the story. One of the people that are the 10 richest people in Canada farms, and I've talked to him and said to him, why do you use a program? You don't need it. And he said, Jay, anytime I can get money interest-free or I can get money at prime, I'm going to take it. And he applies for the program every year, and he's on the top 10 richest people in Canada. And nobody likes paying interest. I don't. No one else does. So if you can save that money, oh, so be it.
Yeah, if I might add too, one of the things we've started doing, well, since I came on board really, Jay, is working with Junior Farmers of Ontario.
Mhm.
And they've had JNIN to do a couple of workshops. Actually, our director of lending, Rob Chaney, he's come as well. But a lot of them, when they come to me, they say, well, either I can't get money from a bank because I'm young, or I can't get it without my parents co-signing, or my rate is prime plus four. Like it's just like, and it's under in some cases it's under a bank program of some kind that's geared towards, young farmers, but the rates are really, really higher than you'd like to see them. And then when I explain our program, you can just borrow $50,000 if you're starting out. You don't have to borrow a 500,000, and it is interest free. And it's a very simple program to access. And so we find a lot of young farmers starting to work with us. And yeah, they're not borrowing 1 million; they're borrowing 100,000, 50,000, 40,000, but it gives them access to that cash. And the other thing, this point was made, to us yesterday, was that, if you're a young farmer that needs to establish their credit rating, this is one way to do it, right? Because automatically you've borrowed, you've paid back, and then boom, you've got a credit rating. So this program can help in a couple of different ways if you're a young farmer starting out. And so where the banks might not meet some of those needs, this program can do it. And I heard that from a long time user of our program, and she said when she was younger, she was starting out in the 90s, that's what she did. This is how she established her credit rating, and was able to get funds at a time when she couldn't during a recession, and she's been with us ever since.
Cool. There's a couple questions on here I see in the chat, Stefan. One was
The timing one has been answered now. So I think we can focus on how does the repayment process work when growers sell through the Toronto terminal market? If product is sold daily, does that mean payments are required on
no.
each day of the month, or is there a different settlement schedule? Can a one-time payment be made at end of year?
What we will do is on those, we will set up, rather than have to get paid every day, what we will do is we'll set up a prepayment plan. So if you've got an idea of how much you're selling in July, how much you're selling in August, how much you're selling in September, you can set up that prepayment plan and do it that way as well. And that stops people from having to pay every day, because I know in Toronto Food Terminal, if you're shipping every day, you're getting paid every few days. And but you can set up a prepayment schedule with us and say, in July, I'm going to pay you this much. In August, I'm going to pay you this much. In September, I'm going to pay you this much. And we can go that route as well.
Great.
One of the questions that came up a little bit higher up was, when does the minister make the announcement for the interest-free money? I wish I knew. I have had it. I know 2 years ago, I went home one night. And my wife said, "Oh, geez, I bet you're busy." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Well, the minister announced it today." And so I actually found out from my wife when I got home. So they don't give us. We know that it can be any time between now and May 15th. But we don't really get a heads up on it. So I wished we did, but unfortunately we don't.
Thanks, Jay. I think I was drawing maybe imprecisely from my memory of it was just after the FEGC AGM, which is our federal or counterparts AGM, which was sometime in March. But the summary that you gave is perfect, and Danny summed it up beautifully. Okay, before May 15th. That's the only thing we know for sure.
Yeah, that's the only thing we know for sure. And I think the latest one they've done has been in May. They usually do it sometime the last couple weeks of March. One of the reasons we want it put in and put it permanent is that once the announcement's made, we have to go back and redo 2 or 3 or 4,000 loans. And so it's a lot of extra work and a lot of extra time and a lot of extra effort. And when it could be made so easy and just tell us what it is and let's go. So, but anyway, that's our political realm that we have to work with. And
we like that it is in your political realm because it means we have the same objective of having more consistency in the higher interest rate portion. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
It is nice.
That's exactly it. And like I say, and that's why we're pushing so hard for it. It creates stability, and it creates stability not only for us, but more so on the producer because he can plan.
Yeah, planning, exactly.
If he knows he's going to get 250,000 or 350,000 interest free, he can plan around that.
Yes.
Whereas if you don't, you don't. And it creates havoc for everybody.
Yeah. And Jay doesn't like that.
I don't like that at all. So.
I know. Thank you very much, Jay and Scott, for your passion and for your passion delivery today, which was probably my favorite webinar that I've ever hosted. So it's
thank you.
Great. Cool. Well, thank you for doing it.
Yeah.
Don't tell my labor section chair that because I do webinars with him as well, or anyone else that I've ever done a webinar with. But it was a pleasure, and I thank everyone for staying extra. I imagine it means that you saw value in that, and I think that's a reflection of Jane and Scott. So thank you, everyone, and we'll be sending out a copy of the link to this webinar. And anything else that Scott and Jay and Mike think would be beneficial to send out along with that recording.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Stefan. Thanks for setting this up, and thanks for everybody who participated.
Yeah, thanks for your time, everyone. I appreciate it.
Okay. Bye. I'll have a great day.
All right. Take care.